We are now recording the Headliner PodPod episodes 5. I'm not sure which episode we are, but I'm excited today. We're going to be playing a little game with the podcast clips, and here is how it's going to work. I will play an audio clip that has been generated using the Headliner platform, and after hearing the clip, you will get a chance to select from 3 options what the correct title of the episode is.
All right, let's go.
Cool.
I'm excited. This is going to be a really fun version of this.
Now to go, who's going to go first? Are there any volunteers to join?
I'll go. Let's do this.
All right,
Christy, go for it.
Come
Love the
on down.
enthusiasm.
I mean,
All right.
That's what I'm here for, man.
All right, so now I'm going to have to, it's going to be odd. I didn't think this part through. Give me one moment.
You have to share a screen in a very specific kind of way.
I do. I just realized I need to share a screen that won't show the clip. Am I going to do this? All right, we've got this.
As a person that literally has a podcast about being in the DIY scene, you're really representing the DIY podcasting scene right now. It is on the fly.
Just close your eyes.
I know exactly what we need to do. When you are in the hot seat, you'll be required to close your eyes.
All right. Okay.
That's the most lo-fi fix ever. I love it.
Yeah, dude.
Yep.
DIY or die, man. Let's do this.
Yep.
Yeah, can
So
we get
Christy,
like a duct tape
please,
blindfold?
eyelids together until you cannot see. Are you officially?
I am staring at my microphone. I'm not even looking at my computer anymore.
Love that. Love that. Okay, I'm going to share my screen now.
Okay, cool.
And I'm going to bring this over here. Let's see. All right. Participants can now see the application. Except for Christy, because
Because I'm covering everything.
he's totally covered. All right. All right. Are you ready, Christy?
Yes.
I'm going to hit play, and you're going to hear the clip. And you're going to keep your eyes closed the entire time. Here we
All right,
go.
let's go, baby.
Or that. And if so, let's fill that space, that gap. And if not, I'm not just trying to jump in and give you what already exists, right, with the new branding on it, because that just continues to do exactly what I'm talking about. So I agree. I do think there's intention, and I think that requires me to really be thoughtful. And I'll say, and I'll just, if you don't know me and you don't follow me, I also, when I talk about capitalism, I also am a big part of that too. I love product. So I am a product person, and I buy product, I use product. I like to know what's new. I read about product. And so in being able to elevate that there is tension here, I also recognize that I am a part of that because I do like those things. I don't think everybody needs to have as many products as I have, right? I would never propose that someone has to go out and care about products in the way that I do.
Okay. All
All
right.
right, Christy. You can actually look back at the screen now. I have covered up the answer.
Okay,
So you heard
fantastic.
the clip. Were you able to hear the clip?
Yes, I heard it. Capitalism product. Someone loves a lot of product. I'm guessing kind of a hair-related thing.
All right. Here are your 3 options. And remember, you're going to try to pick the one that is the correct title of the podcast.
All right, let's do this.
Option 1, product passion.
Mhm.
Option 2, gather round. Option 3, the family meeting.
The first one, I'm going to have to do the first one, the one that has to do with product, because I heard that word so many times that I'm just going to have to lean into it.
Product passion. Unfortunately, that is not the name of this podcast.
What? Oh,
Are you ready for the big?
I've
sorry.
been duped. Oh yeah, show me what it actually is. I'd like to see. The family meeting.
I mean, I don't blame you, Christy. I would have
Yeah.
gone for
Yeah,
the
that
same
was
thing,
a
dude.
huge red herring.
Yeah, man,
Yeah, that was.
You know what? That was good. I know that you've been writing these questions, and to be duped on the first one, it means you're doing a good job, Oliver.
Well, I'm going to tell
We
you.
should
how
have mentioned
this-
product like
Yeah, dude, I got zoned in on that word. That you
yeah,
said
and
it
then
was-
product passion. I mean, how do
Oh.
you not go for that one?
Yeah, I'll take an L there. I'm happy with my L though. I understand my L.
I mean, we know you were cheating if you didn't guess for that one somehow.
I
You were
mean,
looking.
yeah, I did.
You were
Yeah.
peeking.
I wanted to see it. I wanted to see it bad.
Which I love that you thought it was about hair, by the way, Christy. Because like as soon as you said it, I'm like, oh no, that actually makes so much sense. I thought she said Prada, like the brand at first.
Oh,
so
see, I thought it was Prada first, but then she kept saying the word and it kind of adjusted into the word product and saying that she likes to use a lot of product. And some people don't have as much product as her. I was like, okay, so this is like,
and then Prada.
I was like, is this product? Because like, I love this. Whoever has an entire, like you're doing an audio podcast about a visual thing. Like makeup. That sounds ridiculous.
I'm not even 100% sure if the product in question is a Prada bag or not.
It could be.
Awesome. Yeah, like I think it could have been both of those.
It could
be. Do we have the description of the show?
We do, Nicholas. I'm glad you asked. I'm going to read that to you now. Here's a description of the Framley meeting with Allison Knowlton Mason and Stanley Bradley. Allison Knowlton Mason and Stanley Bradley are friends turned Framley. A friend and family. I believe that is a portmanteau.
Yeah.
40-somethings getting together to tell stories, laugh, observe, and think. The Framley Meeting is a weekly podcast that takes a topical look at universal threads through the lens of pop culture and personal experience. Framley is where we meet to celebrate the kinships we choose and the connections that sustain us. Also, just so you know, we're grown-ups and we curse on occasion, thus the explicit tag. So this is not something to listen with your kids.
I thought that last bit was you, Oliver, and I was like, wait, really?
Right. Well, awesome. Round one. Unfortunately, you're going to have to take the L here. That was a tough one.
Yeah, I'm gonna get tattooed a tally mark for every time I lose. So this is a trip to the tattoo shop. That's fine.
Yeah. All right. Trip to the tattoo parlor. Maybe left arm loser hash marks, right arm winner, or
that's
whatever
it.
Body parts with a W. All right. Let's move on to clip number 2. Who would like to step up to the hot seat?
I'll jump up. Why not?
All right, Nicholas.
Now, also, Christy, your comment, by the way, great idea for a sketch. Memento does Jeopardy.
Nicholas, your first step will be to close your eyes, of course.
Yep. Got a book. Cover my face with it.
Yep. Now let me just get set up here.
Did you write this book, or is this just a book?
No, this one's one I'm just reading, Alyssa. It's called Cameraman. It's a book about Buster Keaton. Yeah.
It's a new one.
All right, Nicholas. Eyes closed, ears open. Here's your clip.
Berating any doctor or official who didn't take his hand-washing theory seriously. He insulted them and blamed them for the deaths of anyone who died from childbed fever. Doctors, of course, didn't take kindly to one of their own blaming them for the deaths of patients, especially when those doctors were operating exactly as they had been taught their whole lives. He wasn't taken seriously by them because his experiments in hand washing were never presented in a formal scientific way. So he could never overcome the belief perseverance that was prevalent among the doctors. They simply didn't see enough to change their minds. Semmelweis was an obscure doctor in Vienna suggesting that these doctors with high social standing, have unclean hands, and that was almost offensive to suggest. Frustrated in the middle of an Austria that was experiencing political turmoil, Ignaz Semmelweis left the Vienna hospital without saying a word to anyone and returned to Hungary. He published his book, which didn't sell well, and soon he descended.
All right, Nicholas, you can open your eyes.
Where did he descend to, though? I need to know.
That's the cliffhanger of that clip.
Oh, wow.
All right. So are you ready for your options?
I am. Can I guess what the name is first? Just for funsies?
I think it would be awesome.
I think it would be awesome if they named the podcast something like a little punny, like Doctors with Borders. That was just my
unclean hands thing. The unclean hands is either a great name for like a murder podcast about doctors,
or like a hardcore band from the 80s.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
That is not, in case you were wondering, that is not the name of the podcast.
That's unfortunate.
And going for the name before you have even heard the options is worth 2 points instead of 1, of course. No penalty for guessing wrong. All right. Option 1. The internet says it's true. Option 2, Beyond Belief, Unearthing the Unusual. Or option 3, Questions, Curiosities, and Bizarre Tales.
I'm going to go with...
Nicholas, remember, if you need to hear them again, I can absolutely read them again.
Could I have them in French, Oliver?
No.
Okay. Well, very, very well articulated. I'm going to go with option C.
Option C, and just to translate from the alphanumerical to the numerical, in your translation, is C, does that equate to option 3?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Option 3, Questions, Curiosities, and Bizarre Tales is not the name of this podcast.
Rats.
Let's reveal the name of the podcast. It's The Internet Says It's True with Michael Kent.
Good name for a podcast.
That's a great name for a podcast.
Yeah.
Forgotten history, bizarre tales, and facts that seem too strange to be true. Host Michael Kent asks listeners to tell him something strange, bizarre, or surprising that they've recently learned, and he gets to the bottom of it. Every episode ends by playing a game show style quiz game with a celebrity guest. Part of the WCBE podcast experience.
Very cool.
They might want to play our game next.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who do you think the first celebrity that's going to play this game, our game with?
Bono.
Bono?
Yeah,
Bono,
just Bono. He seems humble.
The relationship between Bono and Headliner is like very, very close.
Yeah, exactly.
Neil's a big YouTube fan.
Is he really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. Well, maybe
I love that. I love that for Neil.
I think he met Bono once.
So it's in the cards.
All right. We've got a lot of clips to get through. Who's up next?
I'll do it. Let's go.
All right, Dash.
I close my eyes.
As we often do with my magic tricks, the first step is to close your eyes. All right. Your clip begins now.
As we mentioned earlier, Chris and I are obsessed with I-244 and just sort of like how the federal highway system was, in essence,
weaponized.
Was weaponized against Black people and minorities. Do you have a hobby horse of a historical, like, weird thing that just you're fascinated with that you always try to bring up and everyone's just like, okay, like it's not interested in it the way you're interested in it? Like, Chris is obsessed with the Oklahoma tax policy. I'm obsessed with the federal highway system. Like, what's your weird history thing that you're obsessed with?
I mean, I think the closest thing to that for me would probably be like the mechanics of urban renewal. I just got super invested in the mechanics of how it worked and even like how it was originally decided, and like, for example, how the original congressional law as part of the war on poverty, there was just debate about whether or not they should. So they had to include citizen oversight in the program, right?
All right, Dash, you can remove your blindfold.
Glove. Gardening glove. Blindfold. Okay. Like law and race, gentrification of neighborhoods, some themes I'm picking up on. But yeah, let's hear it.
All right. Option 1, the Tulsa Tidbits podcast. Option 2, Pod with Passion, lifelong friends tackling change. Option 3, Pod for Good.
What was the second one again?
Pod with Passion, lifelong friends tackling change.
They're talking like the highway system, some laws and changing neighborhoods. We're going to have to go with that one just because the other ones are pretty vague. Like that one kind of leans into the changing of neighborhoods and stuff. So let's do that.
Is that your final answer?
That's my final answer.
Dash, you are incorrect.
Oh, for 3.
Yeah, this game may be a little harder than we realized. Here we go. Pod for Good.
Pod for Good.
Yep.
The changes we're talking about didn't seem very good, but okay, sure.
Well, maybe they're setting up what needs to be changed.
It's true. It's true. Just a clip. It's just a clip.
Or it was opposite day on the episode,
Yeah, it could have been.
Well, I think the description of this podcast will... Oh, what were you saying, Alyssa?
I was just going to say, or they could have like a skewed like moral sense. So what we would define as good, it's actually...
It could be chaotic neutral or whatever the saying is.
Yeah, they pulled a Nuno reverse on us.
Yeah.
I see they have like the scales of what justice type of thing on there. their artwork there. All right, Alyssa, you got to bring it home.
Wait,
Someone's got to get one right.
We got to read. I just have to read the podcast description to shed a little light on this, and then we'll move on. Pod for Good. Jesse Ulrich and Chris Miller, two lifelong friends who have a passion to make their home city and state stronger, tackle the issues, articulate the frustrations, investigate the whys, and cheer the triumphs of the many hardworking individuals and their dynamic organizations who are working to make Tulsa, Oklahoma, and the world a more vibrant and inclusive place.
Wasn't there one on the list that was about Tulsa too?
There was.
Yeah, Tulsa Tidbits.
That's so bizarre.
Such a good name for a podcast too.
Because I was close about that one, because I was like, there's been a lot of, history around Tulsa and race and everything. But all right, I'm just a sore loser. Next up.
Oh, there'll be a chance for redemption in the lightning round.
Come on.
Oh, thank goodness. Alyssa, no pressure, by the way.
All right, Alyssa, as we all know by now, the very first step of playing this game is to close your eyes or put a glove over your face or an index card or whatever that is. All right, let me just cue up the gaming machine. Your clip begins now.
Everything was watering on the river. Both of them worked hard in destocking, getting your cattle numbers back to where they should be, or he always kept them a bit below because he felt that gave him room to move in a bad season.
As cattle numbers decreased, the country regenerated and the quality of the feed for those that remained steadily improved, such that the calving percentage rose to approximately 75 to 80%, and turn-off weight targets for steers were reached a year sooner than had previously been the case, and the herd was brought back to around 10,000 head.
He always said if your pastures looked after or the lands looked after, everything will follow suit. So he fenced up the property so there aren't mass numbers in each paddock, and it's easy to manage and easy to rotate.
All right, Alyssa.
Can I look now?
You can look now, yes. I want to say something. I did not pick this one for you. The accent it's totally fortuitous.
Yeah.
It's Australian for what it's worth.
I was going to say, before we get started, you have to name the accent.
They were Australian and they were talking about cattle. Got that one on lock.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think you're right.
All right, so let's go through the options. Option 1, R.M. Williams Outback. Option 2, Outback Echoes podcast starring R.M. Williams. Option 3, R Tales of Wonder from Australia's Heartland.
Well, there's a theme. I like the last one, but I don't feel like that one was correct. What was the second one again?
Outback Echoes podcast starring R.M. Williams.
I'm going to say number 1. Reluctantly.
Alyssa, you are this week's champion. Nailed it.
God.
Wow.
That's right.
Who's R.M. Williams?
Who's
in your head?
R.M. Williams Outback is the name of the podcast.
Incredible.
Amazing.
It's also a really good cover for a podcast.
Yeah.
R.M. Williams.
I like their font choices.
Is an Australian footwear and clothing company.
That'll do it.
Oliver
it also
has
explains
been
the
so
hat.
good. Oliver's been so good from the front of this game to the back that, and we're not even done probably, that I don't trust you, Oliver, on your naming stuff because you would have come up with R.M. Williams. I feel like that you would have came up with that name, and I'm like, I would not even pick that one.
I actually was worried about RM being just too odd, so I actually put them in each of them.
I was going to say, like, they all had it.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I'm not going to pick the one that has it. And then I was like, no.
So you are rigging the die, Oliver.
Well, I mean, you have to come up with the... Well, to be honest, let's talk about, if you want to talk, we have 2 more ones to go through. Technically for Jesse and Max, they're not here today, so we can still do them. I made these I came up with these potential other podcast names. Not myself. I put the show description into GPT-4, and I had to
really?
come up with podcast names. I had to adjust them a little bit, but it was very fast.
Okay.
But what I'm
Okay,
kind of seeing
all
is that some of the names are almost too pod-like. We need some. I have some ideas for future ones. All right. So this show, R.M. Williams Outback, re-angles its authentic experience lens on rural and regional Australia into the audio space. The hugely successful Outback magazine has been published for 25 years and knows the Australian bush like nobody else. This podcast is inspired by the informative writing and spectacular photography in the magazine, but is not limited to this content. Explore Australian news, events, stations, nature, art, people, history, gear, tracks, travel, pubs, towns, and much more. So that would explain the awesome image on the cover.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we have two more to do. Maybe we do teams. Just from looking at this, Christy and Nicholas, you're on the first team.
I'll take the winner on my squad. The only one to get one right. Thank you.
I think after Alyssa, you slacked us all something like "Don't count me out" or something, or no, it wasn't.
It was just never doubt me.
Never doubt me.
Never doubt me. It was never doubt me. No punctuation. It was just that.
Yep.
Yeah. And I think we just saw from that clip that rings true. So here we go. Clip number 6. Now, Christy and Nicholas, you're both on a team now. So just play nice, guys.
I'm covering.
Yeah, I'm covering my face.
All right, cover the face. All right, so a little change to this. As soon as you hear the audio, you can uncover your face because I will be closing the tab.
And so I think that's why it's so magical and people go out and do such incredible things with it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh, what a great story. So you said two things that have prompted two other things I'm going to ask you about. So you mentioned your age before.
Yeah.
So I'd love to talk about, is you have a focus on aging well as a vegan.
Yeah.
And you even said, like, when we had our little intro call, you're like, it's not a panacea, but we can age well being vegan. So what does that mean?
Well, having been around this world for a very long time. So I went vegetarian in 1969 and I got very active in this movement. And I was writing for lots of vegetarian publications.
That concludes your clip. All right, team. First of all, what is your team name?
Christy, any suggestions?
Team Specs.
Okay.
We both.
I'm not wearing mine today, but sure.
Hey, you say it, it's in. Team Specs. All right, Team Specs. Here are your three choices. Option A, Hummus Chronicles Podcast, Vegan Adventures with Kimberly Winters. B, Hummus and Heartbeats Podcast with Kimberly Winters. Or C, Did You Bring the Hummus with Kimberly Winters?
So good.
Okay. Do you have any ideas? Because I think I know what it is, but I don't want to be the one who gets it wrong.
I thought it was
the first.
I liked the first one. Which one did you like?
I thought it was the third one, but only because Oliver alluded to using GPT and the other two sounded overly punctual, like a prompt.
I like that. Let's do the third one, and I believe it's called
Did You Bring the Hummus?
Where I think that it reminds me of the one that we did earlier, but the internet told me. The internet.
Yeah, it kind of does. I was just thinking of
kind of vibe.
I was thinking of Martin Short's character in Only Murders in the Building because he's obsessed with hummus.
That's right. Yeah,
the third Oliver, and he loves dips.
Yeah. All right, I vote the third one. Nick, you're with the third one, correct?
Yep.
All right.
GPT Spectacular nailed it.
Nice.
Did you bring the hummus with Kimberly Winters, CPC? Here we go. And I think that's some cilantro for the cover art. Love that. For season, the description on Apple was, for season 3, I'm posting episodes every Monday. As always, we'll discuss all things vegan. Most importantly, we'll talk about how to embrace this meaningful decision with fervor and fun. Hosted by Kimberly Winters, CPC, ELI, MP, LD5. That's a bunch of certifications.
Very
Nice work.
cool.
Nice.
Sounds like an
Excellent
interesting
work,
podcast for sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cilantro just photos better than garbanzo beans, I guess.
Well, it wouldn't be accurate if it was actual hummus too, because they're asking if you brought it.
Yeah, good point. Fair.
You know?
Yeah, they have the
Not,
cilantro.
hey, we have some hummus. Come on
Or
in,
is
buddy.
that parsley?
Yeah.
Do we know? That could be parsley. I have to smell it every
I think
time.
it is. I think it's parsley. You guys have
I
been
think
saying that.
Yeah.
It's been in my head this entire time.
Yeah, come on. I think it's
I'm like,
parsley too.
you guys, I don't think it's cilantro.
We need to, scratch and sniff or something.
I've just checked with the judges, and it is in fact flat leaf parsley. Good
Flatly. It's definitely not curly. We know that. Thank you.
All right. Are we ready?
We need a team name.
Okay.
I'm thinking Team Echolocation. Just because of your accent skills.
Well, I feel like Christie's echolocation. I think
Yes.
that's accent
Yes.
location.
You're just accent looking. That's true. He's more of just,
Well, team accent.
team accent.
Just for the sake of time, we can come up with a better one next week.
Right. True. Let's do it.
Accent. All right.
Close our eyes.
All right, team accent. Close your eyes. Card and glove, whatever it is you need to do. Remember, as soon as you hear that audio start to play, you can listen with your eyes open.
And in that case, that one guy who was stockpiling weapons and being anti-government his whole time is like exactly the guy you want on your side.
Yeah.
Sure, I understand that.
Well, because he's right in this moment. I think I had that in my mind when I was thinking of stockpiling people not being. I was like, no, but it worked out in Last of Us. I think my brain was going there in that, like, as long as it's
a broken clock can be right twice.
But I also don't think we're going to get rid of all guns. It's like you can still get. Look, if this happens, people could still have access to guns. Just make the access harder in a legal sense, right? But if the oppression starts happening, then people are going to, well, I guess they're going to fight back by not caring about the regulations in the first place when they go and use those weapons to fight back. So the weapons will still exist to a degree, right? And people can still access them then. But we're talking about making the access harder now, right? So I don't think it's feasible to just literally take away all the guns right now in the country.
Okay. I mean, a clear theme there of gun control.
Accent. Here are your three choices. Number 1, adulthood friends. Number 2, evolved bonds. Number 3, friends with podifits.
Wow.
I like the creativity of the last one, and I really don't think that ChatGPT could mimic that. I feel like that's a human creative, but I don't know if it necessarily fits like what they were talking about well.
Oh, what was the first one again?
Adulthood friends.
And the last one was friends with podifits.
Yes.
I mean, I got to lean into the winner's decision making here. As someone
pressure
that's gotten one right.
I know I said never doubt me, but I'm doubting.
Never doubt. She also said never doubt her. So how dare I doubt her? And let's go with number 3. Final answer.
Was that the final answer, Alyssa?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I think Alyssa said never doubt me because I will be doubting myself. But I'm always right. So is that the final answer, Alyssa?
Sure. I'll lock it in.
Lock it.
Friends with podifits.
That's it?
Is that your final answer? I just want to make
sure.
Oh.
He's really trying to make us doubt here.
The 3 choices were adulthood friends, evolved bonds, or friends with podifits.
I think we're going with the podifits.
I'm sorry, team.
How did ChatGPT do podifit?
I did without ChatGPT.
Oh, there you go.
Well, okay, that caveat would have been nice.
Yeah, that would have been nice to know, Oliver. These guys switching.
Well, I
the
just
game.
didn't come up with a good one. But Alyssa, you were 100% right. You were like, "There's no way ChatGPT came up with that one. It sounds like a human." And that's, I mean,
she was right. So
you were totally right.
If I had all of the things in front of me, could have potentially picked correctly.
What was the correct answer?
I feel
the adulthood friends. Aya and Josh have known each other all their lives, but they weren't always friends. Listen as they get to know each other as adults and explore the ways of our thoughts, values, and priorities shift over time. and explore the ways our thoughts, values, and priorities shift over time. And there's Josh and Aya right there.
How do you think that happened if you've known someone for your whole life and then you just start a podcast together? Like, there's a story there, right? Maybe they were at the airport someday and they were just like, we're bored. Let's go open up this app and do a podcast.
It's also interesting that they choose to say, we weren't always friends.
Right. Yeah, that's true. Maybe they became friends at some point. I guess I'm overthinking.
But they always knew each other.
Yeah.
Almost, to me, it suggests that maybe they were...
I think Josh dated her best friend and she didn't like him. But then they grew over that. I don't know. And the cat, he cat sat once and was a great cat.
It was the cat. The cat ran away one day and brought them together. And they were like, hey, thanks for my cat. No problem. Let's start a podcast. Okay. What's your thoughts on guns?
I think maybe I is kind of like the cooler one. And Josh is like, hey, let me join your cool club. Just because the way he's looking at her and holding the coffee. But...
What's wrong with the coffie?
Nothing.
Exactly.
Got some stuff done. He's kind of still waking up.
Alyssa, that was very threatening.
I just
a little scared.
The cat, I get that. That's fine. Hate on the cat, but not the coffee. That's just my point. I'm sorry.
Leave the coffee out. The coffee just showed up for work, Oliver.
Yeah, and the cat's nose is non-existent. We don't know.
Oh, that's true.
That concludes this week's episode. Thanks all for playing. I remembered towards the end that I had told myself, do not mention the GPT thing until the end because it will sway people's answers. Totally
it did.
Oops.
It did. And it did. Well, thank you all for playing. And if there's any shout outs or last minute things anyone wants to yell, now is your time.
Come on the podcast, Bono. We know you listen.
We know you want to.
Come on the podcast, and you too can listen to podcasts.
Oh my God.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.